Hey everyone, this is Mike. Welcome back to my channel, Z Motorsports, and welcome back to my shop. I did something a little different in a previous video. I called it Shop Updates, and it was basically just kind of random odds and ends, bits and pieces around different things I was doing around the shop, some different tooling. I posed the question if people liked it, if my viewers liked it or not. I've got quite a few positive comments and feedback on it, so I'm going to continue doing them. I will continue doing the job-specific videos as well, but I'll keep doing these little shop upgrades, and I think what we're going to call them is shop bits and pieces. I talked to my wife and my son, and we kind of kicking some ideas around. We thought we'd call it bits and pieces, shop bits and pieces, and then number it so we can kind of keep them in chronological order. So anyway, we're going to call this Shop Bits and Pieces number 1. So I apologize if it looks like I'm glistening a little bit here today. It's Friday afternoon. I just got home from work and it's 102 degrees outside. So I turned my fan off over here just because it interferes with the sound. So I apologize if I'm looking like I'm glistening a little bit. It's a little warm in here. So anyway, in my last video, my shop updates, I mentioned at the very end, I think it was, I mentioned that I had ordered I had purchased a Kurt D675 vise off of eBay. It showed up yesterday, and I spent the better part of last night, dummy me, I didn't even think about it. I should have recorded it, but I didn't even think about it. But I spent the better part of last night cleaning it up and detailing it. When I bought it, it had a lot of surface rust on the ways here, as well as on the movable jaw and the fixed jaw. The replaceable jaws were missing. I knew that. I'm not trying to badmouth the seller by any means. I knew that, and he was very descriptive of that. So I bought those separate. They showed up a couple days prior, I think it was. So anyway, the vise was in good condition according as far as mechanically and functionality, but cosmetically it had a light surface rust all over everything. It was still chucked full of metal shavings, metal filings. So I took it apart, cleaned everything, soaked it, cleaned it again, and then I took a DA with some a dual action sander with some, I think it was 320 grit sandpaper on it before I put the new jaw, replaceable jaws on it, and I just ran over all the surfaces nice on the movable jaw, the stationary jaw, and on the ways here, lightly just breathed across them. And it really freed it up. I put some grease. It's got a greaser back here, so I greased it, cleaned the threads up. It is smooth. The action is smooth. It works great. So I'm very excited. Again, I want to reiterate, I was not unhappy. I love my Glycerin 5-inch. It was a great vise. It still is a great vise. I'm going to use that as my backup probably the majority of the time. It's just, the accessories for things like that are a lot more readily available for the 6-inch Kurts than they are the 5-inch. So I think a couple things I'm going to build. I'm going to build me a work stop. I had one that I had modified on my Glycerin. I think I'm actually going to build one for my Kurt. I picked up a 3/4 inch chrome socket, and I've got one steel ball left over from when I did my handle on my last one. And don't quote me on this, I think Tom Lipton over at Ox Tools is where I got this idea from, and there's been a lot of guys that have copied it, of course, but I think he's the one that originally came up with it. So I'm going to cut and weld this now. I figured that'd be a good thing to video. The wrench fits on there good. What I did is I took and I measured so that with the Y, the handle for the Y and the ball, they will not make contact. There'll be about probably an 1/8 or a 3/16 inch gap between them. So I have the handle that come with the vise, but I'm not really, I mean they work okay, but you always, well, this, like I said, this one works good. It doesn't really, well, I guess it does kind of contact, barely. If it's dead nuts straight up and down. If it's off to the angle at all, it'll clear. But anyway, so it looks to me like they've cut the end of the ball on this one off and radiused it, so I could go ahead and use that one. But I kind of got used to having that ball in the palm of my hand on the other one, and I liked it, so I'm going to build me another one for my Kurt. So like I said, this one is in really good shape. Once I got it all cleaned up, I think it'll provide years and years of service. I've been looking for a few months, and a lot of the ones I was seeing out there, either on the fixed jaw or the movable jaw, or the movable plate, I guess you'd call it, they had just had so many drill marks, it looked like Swiss cheese. So this one's got just a couple little dings, like maybe, I don't know, almost more like pin marks than actual drill marks. So nothing, the ways on it are really nice and good shape. So this one's actually in pretty good shape. I felt comfortable with the price I paid for it. I didn't steal it by any means, but I felt okay. I felt okay with it. And the seller was very, he'd had it on there for a little while. I contacted him. He was willing to negotiate a little bit. I feel good about it. I didn't want to screw the guy over, but yet the same token, I didn't want to give what he was asking, what the buy it now price was either. So I feel good about it. So I went through and chased all the all the threads and all the holes. I got some new 1/2-13 bolts for it and the new jaws. I also picked up a set. I don't have them here handy. I picked up a set of aluminum, actually 2 sets of aluminum sacrificial jaws that I can use. And then I've got some 4-inch tall jaws coming also. Things like that just weren't available for the 5-inch. So this 9x35 table is fairly adequate, I mean, for the size of the 6-inch. So I'm going to go ahead and probably leave the 6-inch Kurt on here for the majority of the time. But I'm not bad on that Glycerin. That Glycerin 5-inch was awesome. I almost wonder if maybe I should have bought the Glycerin 6-inch, and I probably wouldn't be here at this crossroads right now. On a couple of the machining forums, on the smaller tabled mills like I have, a lot of guys were using the 5-inch. On my last little benchtop mill, I had a 4-inch, and it was good size for that, but 6-inch almost kind of seemed a little big for a 35-inch wide table, 9x35. But actually, once I get it on here and got the 5-inch off, it's size good. It doesn't sit much higher, maybe a little bit, maybe I probably ought to measure. It doesn't sit like, looks like it sits maybe in a 1/2 inch at the most higher, and maybe probably inch, maybe 3/4 of an inch wider. So probably 1.5 inches wider. So I've got maybe 3/4 of an inch of my covers sitting over the edge. So not too much larger. I think I'll probably keep this one on here the majority of the time, like I said. So I'm going to go ahead and cut this wrench and then get prepped and bring it in here and TIG weld it. So I'll move on to that project next. Okay, there's the end I'm going to use. I just need to put a very slight chamfer, or not chamfer, radius in there. I'll just breathe across it with the bench grinder here. Okay, got a nice tight fitment there. So I'm just going to go knock this chrome back just a little bit and grab some TIG rod, and I'll be back over here to the welding table. Checking to make sure everything looks true, the best I can deduce. It's nice and square. What I did is I just took my welding vise here, put a plate in there and a spring clamp to hold it. So let me go ahead and put a couple tacks on here. I'm just using some 1/16 rod. Okay, tacks there. now. Okay, last side. That one kind of got away from me right at the end because the ball has a hole in it, and I was trying to fill up that hole right at the very end, and it kind of spit back a little bit. Spit back. But for the most part, let's see if I can get that into focus there. Around the corners. So, okay, let me clean that up and let that cool, and that part's done. All right, got my 3/4 inch wrench with my ball welded on it. It works awesome. I like this feature that I built for my Glycerin, a 5-inch, so got kind of used to it, and you can actually put quite a bit of force on that and get them locked down pretty tight, and it clears by maybe 3/16, about 3/16 of an inch. Yeah, 3/16 of an inch. My Y crank. So, all right. I think I'm going to go over and make a new knob for my brake real quick, and possibly my down feed. And then more than likely start working on my work stop. So, like I said, I got some time here tonight. Wife has to work late, so I might as well spend some time out here in the shop doing something productive. Got a piece of 1/4 round stock aluminum 6061, and I'm just machining it real quick, a knob for the brake on my mill. I'm just facing it off here right now. finish there. I'll go ahead and drill and tap my thread there. I just thread it to a 3/8 16, but I also want to counter bore it to slide over this, so that's going to be 430. So I'll come in here for starters and spot it. And let's go 3/8 16 is going to be a 5/16 drill bit. Half-inch deep, so it slips over the shaft on that. So I've got this faced off, I've got this drilled and tapped. Sorry I didn't show that on camera. I had to move the camera to get into my drawer there for the 7/16 end mill that I ended up counterboring this with. So I'm going to change my tool post angle here and set it at a 10-degree angle, which is right there. Okay, lastly I just run some aluminum polish around it, and I'm going to come in here and part it off now and then turn around and face it. And there's the part. Okay, let's hope that shows up. Parted off the end, chamfered it. Let's put it on and see how she looks, shall we? Alright, there's my original one. Thread it off. Put the new one on. Excellent. Nice shiny new brake lever. Now I want to do a ball for my down feed, but that will look nice. So I decided to set up my new Holdridge radii turner on the lathe today and machine a ball for the quill down feed on my mill. And this is a used item I bought off of eBay. I think I showed it in my previous shop updates video. It had a couple of these extra plates, which I believe are probably aftermarket. I don't think they're original. This one looks like the original one that come with it. However, it's too thick. This one measures about 360 something thousandths thick. So 3/8 roughly, and it looks like it's machine ground. And my opening here height. It's only about 310, so I need to set this up in the mill and come in and mill that about 50 thousandths off of that, so it'll slide into there, and then I can set up my Holdridge on my lathe. There's my blank all set up with a 3/8/16. There's my slug set up ready to roll. So I'm going to go over to the mill and take about 50 thousandths off of the thickness of this. Alright, first job on the new used Kurt vise here. So got my parallels in there. These are 1.5 inch tall parallels in there. Lay my mounting plate in there. And that is locked down good and solid. I think I'll probably just use the face cutter here. Alright, to make a final cut on it, I'm just going to run a deburring tool into those bolt holes and knock off the sharp edges where I cut. Try a couple bolts in it. The threads were a little buggered up. I don't know if that's showing up or not. The threads were a little buggered up when I got this. Well, somewhere in there my battery died on the camera, so I got the Holdridge tool set up on my compound. I had to take 50 thousandths off of the plate that slides in where the T slot here, and then I had to take just a little bit off my actually, I know I had to take it back. I had to get, it had 1.5 inch bolts, socket head cap screws. I had to get some 1 1/4 and kiss just about 25-30 thousandths off the end, so it doesn't make contact with the bottom of the compound, so it's clear underneath. Nice solid rigid mount set up. I got the cutting tip centered with my live end, and that shows up good on camera. There's my first ball. So this is going on the quill down feed for the mill, so I'll just run a little polish over it, and I'm going to stick that on the mill now. There it is installed, and there is my one for the brake. Alright, cool little custom touches on it. Alright, so I bought a assortment of, I think there's 13 of these drill bits here. I bought them off of eBay here last week. They're Morse taper number 2 shank on them, so I don't have any of the Morse taper number 2 shank. I had a couple with my old lathe that had a Morse taper number 2 tailstock. I had a couple of them, and I actually let them go to my friend that buddy of mine that I sold my last mill and lathe to. So I let those go with it, and I just haven't really replaced them. So I've been kind of keeping an eye open a little bit. I bought these, like I said, off of eBay. When I got them, they were, to be honest with you, a little worse shape than I thought. The ends, I mean, they were terribly, they were not sharpened well at all. So I chucked them up in the lathe, took off all the surface rust and everything off of the shanks, and then went ahead and put them, probably spent a good 2 hours sharpening each and every one. So one of them was pretty far gone. Here it is, and I had a duplicate, so I made this in a flat bottom drill bit. So you can kind of see how I flattened it off there. But all the other ones, I've sharpened them, and I do all this freehand. Just one of the things I learned early on how to do is sharpen drill bits, and got pretty good at it, and it's just like second nature now. So as always, whenever I get done with a drill bit, it seems like I always if it needs to be, I touch it up before it goes back in the index. So anyway, I think there's 13 of them here. We've got them all sharpened. It's a bit better than, I probably spent about 2.5 hours or so the other night sharpening them all and cleaning them up. And here is a strange substance in the shop. I just took some 2x4s, drilled some 7/8 holes in them, and this is where my Morse taper number 3 bits will reside. And then I'll mount them over here on the wall behind my solvent tank, but yet next to the lathe, so they're readily accessible when I'm using the lathe. So I know there's a strange substance here in the shop, and even my tools were freaking out, going, "What the hell is this stuff?" They're not. I don't work in wood very well, so I'm going to build a frame now just to kind of hang this on the wall. So it'll probably have a piece of strap come across so I can anchor into the wall, and then a piece that goes down and out and affixes in each corner. So I'm going to go ahead and start mocking that up now. So I dug through my scrap pile over here. I thought I had some steel, but I didn't. But I do have some, looks like probably 1/16 inch aluminum. So I'll cut it 16 inches, and that'll be the back piece that mounts to the wall. And I've got some of this 1/2 inch angle aluminum that I'll make for the 2 vertical and horizontal pieces. Leftover. This is left over from my refrigerator install in our coach last year when I put the residential refrigerator in. So I'm going to go ahead and cut these pieces and get ready to TIG weld them together. I'm just kind of mocking this up here totally on the fly, not really going off any set plans. Back piece, square it up, line up that piece. Now I'm going to kick it just a little bit down so that the drill bits, these back ones, are angled away from the wall just a little bit. So then I'll just bring my square over here, move it into where it touches. And that's the end. Okay, and that's where I will cut that. Okay, so your 2 pieces of whatever that length is. 9 13/16. I'm going to cut 2 of them. Alright. That's it. Okay, let's go ahead and don my gloves and my hood. And I just got it set at about 75 amps. I've got the balance set at about 68%. So we're just going to run a nice little quick little bead down this. Gotta make sure got that fan going though. It's hotter than hell here. Showing 101 outside. So we're gonna get this welded up and get that fan back on. Not the greatest, but that'll do for a drill bit rack. There it is. Turn it around. Get the other one set in place. Let's line it up with the edges of my table here for starters. Go. Okay. Wire brush. Tap your got my framework built there. So now I'm just setting the actual rack down inside. I'm going to put a couple screws in each side here. Take the switch out of the way there. One. Put the other side in here. Guesstimate that a little bit there. Don't need to have them hanging out too far at an angle, but want them out away from the wall a little bit. So it's going to be just third there. And there. I'll mount up on the wall and keep my I'll hold 30 bits. It gives me some room for expansion. So I know this is wood, and I know it's probably not going to paint up real great, but I just can't bring myself to having raw wood sitting around, so I'm going to see if I got a little bit of machinery gray or something and just slap on that real quick. So there's my drill bit rack on and leveled. And it looks like, oh yeah, it's really easily solvent take. And stack a few drill bits in there. bottom one in there. And it gives me room for expansion. So all in all, I'm pretty happy with the way that turned out. I'd say it clears easily. Pretty happy with the way that turned out. So on to the next project. All right, well that concludes shop bits and pieces number 1. So did a couple little projects around the shop tonight. It's getting late, getting ready to call it a day. So let me know what you think of this format, and I'll if everybody likes it, then I'll go ahead and keep adding a couple of these in between some of the major the bigger projects, the more job specific projects. So again, let me know, like it, comments, I appreciate the comments, I welcome the comments. Anything I can do better, please let me know. I'm new to this whole video thing, so I'm sure there's areas that I definitely need to improve in, but I'm open to suggestions. And if there's something I'm doing right that you want to see me keep doing, please let me know that too. If there's projects you want to see me doing, things you want to see, let me know. If there's things that I did in this that you don't necessarily think I need to include in future ones, please let me know that too. Again, this concludes Shop Bits and Pieces number 1, and I want to thank you for subscribing and for watching, and we'll see you next time. Thank you.